Imagine this. One day stands between you and the most blessed month of the year. A month that changes lives, heals hearts, and brings you closer to your Creator. Tonight is not an ordinary night. It is your last chance to prepare your soul before Ramadan embraces you. Ask yourself, am I ready? Is my heart ready? Is my intention ready? This is not about perfect preparation. It is about sincere preparation. One day can change everything. Intention, or niyyah, is the silent engine that drives every act of worship, yet it is the most neglected aspect of our spiritual lives. Before Ramadan begins, the most powerful preparation is not arranging timetables, recipes, or schedules for suhoor and iftar, but sitting alone with your heart and deeply examining why you are about to fast, pray, and worship. Intention is not merely words spoken before an act. It is a state of the heart, a direction of the soul, and a commitment that shapes every moment of your Ramadan. Many people enter this blessed month carrying habits, routines, and even spiritual actions that are performed out of culture, pressure, or social expectation, rather than sincere devotion to Allah. Some fast because everyone around them is fasting, some recite Quran because it looks good, and some pray because they fear judgment from others. But a reset of intention requires you to strip all of that away and return to the core truth. You are doing this for Allah alone, unseen by people, untouched by praise, and unaffected by recognition. This reset begins with honest reflection, asking yourself difficult questions about your relationship with your Creator, your past shortcomings, and your present spiritual state. You must acknowledge that intentions can be polluted by ego, pride, and the desire for validation, and cleansing them requires humility, self-awareness, and sincere repentance. On the day before Ramadan, resetting your intention means consciously reconnecting your heart to its purpose of existence, worshipping Allah with sincerity and love. It involves recognizing that every act of fasting, every night prayer, every moment of patience, and every verse of Quran should be driven by devotion rather than routine. You must mentally and spiritually detach from distractions, social comparisons, and the need to appear pious, and instead cultivate a private, intimate bond with your Lord. This intention reset is not rushed. It is nurtured through quiet moments of contemplation, heartfelt dua, and an honest admission of your weaknesses. You remind yourself that Ramadan is not a performance for the world, but a sacred journey between you and Allah, where your sincerity determines the value of your actions. By renewing your intention, you prepare your soul to enter Ramadan with clarity, focus, and purity, ensuring that every act of worship carries weight, meaning, and spiritual depth, rather than emptiness or habit repentance. Before Ramadan is not merely a ritual of saying Astaghfirullah with the tongue, but a deep, emotional, and spiritual return to Allah with sincerity, humility, and awareness of one's own shortcomings. The heart, over months and years, collects layers of spiritual dust, sins committed knowingly and unknowingly, negligence in prayer, broken promises, harsh words spoken, rights of others neglected, and moments when Allah was forgotten. Just as the body needs cleansing before entering a sacred space, the soul requires purification before stepping into the blessed month of Ramadan. True repentance begins with recognition, recognizing that you are not perfect, that you have made mistakes, and that you are in constant need of Allah's mercy. It requires breaking the walls of arrogance, admitting your weaknesses, and standing before your Creator with a trembling heart that seeks forgiveness not out of fear alone, but out of love and longing for His pleasure. This repentance is intimate, personal, and honest. It is a conversation between you and Allah in the stillness of the night, where no one else can hear your tears, your regret, or your plea for mercy. Heart cleansing is deeply connected to repentance because sins leave emotional and spiritual stains that affect your ability to feel peace, gratitude, and closeness to Allah. A heart filled with resentment, jealousy, hatred, pride, or bitterness cannot fully embrace the blessings of Ramadan, no matter how much the body fasts or the tongue recites Quran. Cleansing the heart requires courage, the courage to forgive those who hurt you, to let go of grudges that have poisoned your spirit, and to release pain that you have been carrying for too long. It means looking inward and asking yourself whether you have wronged others through words, actions, or neglect, and making a sincere effort to make amends where possible. This process is not easy because it forces you to confront uncomfortable truths about yourself, but it is necessary for spiritual growth. On the day before Ramadan, you must intentionally soften your heart, reminding yourself that this month is built upon mercy, compassion, and renewal. You allow yourself to feel remorse for past sins, but also hope in Allah's infinite forgiveness, knowing that no matter how far you have strayed, the door of repentance is always open. Through sincere repentance and deliberate heart cleansing, you begin to remove the spiritual barriers that distance you from Allah, preparing your inner self to receive the light, tranquility, and transformation that Ramadan brings. Spiritual discipline before Ramadan is about preparing the mind, body, and soul to enter a sacred state of consistency, patience, and devotion, rather than approaching the month in a chaotic or unstructured manner. Many people wait until the first day of fasting to suddenly change their habits, but true readiness begins a day before, when you consciously train yourself to slow down, reflect, and align your daily routine with worship. Spiritual discipline is not about being harsh with yourself, but about gently yet firmly guiding your heart away from distractions, laziness, and negligence. It involves recognizing that Ramadan is not just a seasonal spiritual boost, but a deeply structured period of self-control, self-awareness, and self-improvement that requires mental preparation. You begin by observing your current lifestyle, how much time you spend on your phone, how often you procrastinate prayer, how easily you become angry, and how frequently you engage in unnecessary speech. Discipline means deciding that from this moment onward, you will take your relationship with Allah more seriously, setting boundaries with distractions that weaken your faith. It is a commitment to waking up with purpose, managing your time wisely, and treating every hour of Ramadan as precious rather than ordinary. This discipline also extends to your emotions, your speech, and your reactions, because fasting is not only from food and drink, but from harmful behavior and spiritual negligence. You prepare yourself mentally to handle hunger, thirst, tiredness, and frustration with patience, reminding yourself that discomfort is part of purification. Spiritual discipline teaches you to pause before reacting, to think before speaking, and to respond with kindness rather than anger, even when tested. It requires you to consciously shift your mindset from instant gratification to mindful worship, understanding that self-control today strengthens your soul tomorrow. On the day before Ramadan, you begin this training by setting small but meaningful intentions, reducing unnecessary entertainment, increasing remembrance of Allah, and mentally committing to more consistent prayers and Quran recitation. You acknowledge that discipline is not achieved overnight, but through gradual effort, persistence, and reliance on Allah's guidance. This preparation shapes your inner strength, allowing you to enter Ramadan not overwhelmed, but grounded, focused, and spiritually alert, ready to embrace the challenges and blessings of the month with a calm, disciplined, and devoted heart. A true connection with the Quran before Ramadan is not simply about planning how many pages you will read or how many times you will complete the recitation, but about reviving a living, heartfelt relationship with the words of Allah. Many people treat the Quran as a book they only open in Ramadan, during illness, or in times of distress, yet the day before Ramadan is a powerful moment to return to it with humility and longing. This connection begins with recognizing the Quran as more than ink on paper. It is guidance, healing, mercy, and a direct message from your Creator to your heart. Before the blessed month arrives, you pause and reflect on how distant or close you have been to the Quran in your daily life, acknowledging any neglect without despair, but with a sincere desire to change. You approach the Quran with respect, wudu, and a softened heart, understanding that every verse has the potential to transform your soul if you are truly present while reciting it. This is not about speed or impressing others with your recitation, but about allowing the words of Allah to enter your mind, settle in your heart, and shape your character. Building a meaningful connection with the Quran also requires intention and mindfulness, because recitation without reflection can become a hollow routine. On the day before Ramadan, you mentally prepare yourself to engage with the Quran not as a ritual, but as a conversation with Allah, where you listen, reflect, and respond internally to His message. You remind yourself that this book was revealed to guide, comfort, warn, and inspire, and that every time you open it, you are inviting divine light into your life. This connection involves slowing down your recitation, pondering the meanings even if you do not fully understand Arabic, and feeling the emotional depth of the verses that speak about mercy, forgiveness, accountability, and hope. You may also make a personal commitment to not only read, but to act upon what you learn, letting the Quran shape your behavior, your speech, and your perspective. Before Ramadan begins, you remove the barriers between you and the Quran, distractions, busyness, and negligence, and consciously create space in your day for its recitation. You see this preparation as a spiritual bridge that will carry you through the month, allowing each verse to nurture your soul, strengthen your faith, and deepen your awareness of Allah's presence in every aspect of your life. Mercy and kindness are the essence of true faith, and preparing them in your heart one day before Ramadan is as important as preparing your body for fasting. Too often people enter Ramadan focused only on rituals, forgetting that the character of a believer is meant to soften, beautify, and elevate during this blessed month. Mercy is not just a feeling, it is a state of the heart that reflects how you see others, how you speak to them, and how you treat them even when they wrong you. Before Ramadan begins, you pause and examine your relationships with your family, friends, neighbors, colleagues, and even strangers, and honestly reflect on whether your behavior has been marked by compassion or harshness. You remind yourself that Allah's mercy is vast and that you too are desperately in need of it, which naturally encourages you to extend mercy to others. This preparation involves consciously deciding to lower your anger, soften your speech, and replace judgment with understanding, realizing that Ramadan is a month of forgiveness, not conflict. Kindness, in this sense, becomes a form of worship where every gentle word, every patient response, and every act of generosity brings you closer to Allah. Cultivating mercy and kindness also requires you to cleanse your heart from resentment, bitterness, and the desire for revenge, because these emotions harden the soul and block spiritual growth. On the day before Ramadan, you intentionally practice empathy, placing yourself in the shoes of others and recognizing that everyone is fighting their own unseen struggles. You reflect on moments when you may have hurt someone through words, neglect, or misunderstanding, and feel a sincere willingness to apologize, make amends, or at least release the grudge internally. This is not weakness, it is spiritual strength and moral maturity. Mercy in Ramadan means being extra gentle with your family during the stress of fasting, being patient with those who irritate you, and being generous even when you have little. It means seeing people through the lens of compassion rather than criticism, remembering that just as you hope for Allah's forgiveness, others hope for yours. Kindness extends beyond words to actions, feeding the needy, helping the tired, supporting the struggling, and being a source of comfort rather than burden. Preparing your heart with mercy and kindness before Ramadan sets the tone for the entire month, transforming your fasting from a mere physical act into a deeply ethical, emotional, and spiritual experience that reflects the beauty of true faith. Dua before Ramadan is not just a ritual of raising hands, it is a heartfelt conversation with Allah that carries your fears, regrets, desires, and deepest hopes into His infinite mercy. On the day before Ramadan, dua becomes your spiritual lifeline, the bridge between your weakness and Allah's power, your limitations and His limitless generosity. You turn to Him not with arrogance or entitlement, but with humility, recognizing that even the ability to witness Ramadan is a blessing that only He can grant. In these moments of quiet supplication, you pour out your heart, acknowledging your shortcomings, your missed prayers, your broken promises, and your distant heart, yet never losing faith in Allah's forgiveness. Dua is where your soul softens, where tears become a language of sincerity, and where your connection with your Creator deepens beyond formal worship. You ask Him not only for success in fasting and prayer, but for purification of your heart, strength in your faith, and closeness to Him throughout the month. This is the time when you beg Allah to make Ramadan a turning point in your life, a month that transforms you from negligence to mindfulness, from weakness to spiritual strength, and from distance to nearness. Hope is inseparably tied to dua, because while you plead for forgiveness, you also trust completely in Allah's mercy and kindness. On the eve of Ramadan, hope fills your heart with light, reminding you that no matter how far you have strayed, Allah's door is always open and His mercy always greater than your mistakes. You do not approach Ramadan with despair or guilt alone, but with a balanced heart that trembles in humility yet soars in optimism. This hope allows you to believe that change is possible, that your habits can improve, that your heart can soften, and that your relationship with Allah can be renewed. You remind yourself that countless people before you entered Ramadan spiritually broken and emerged spiritually elevated, and that the same opportunity stands before you now. Hope also gives you strength to persist when fasting becomes difficult, when prayers feel heavy, and when distractions try to pull you away, because you trust that every sincere effort is seen and rewarded by Allah. Through continuous dua, you keep your heart alive, your intentions pure, and your spirit anchored in reliance upon Him. Preparing your soul with dua and hope one day before Ramadan means stepping into the blessed month, not with fear of failure, but with deep trust that Allah is with you, guiding you, strengthening you, and welcoming you into His mercy. As you stand on the threshold of Ramadan 2026, remember that preparation is not just about time, schedules, or rituals, but about the state of your soul. This blessed month is a divine invitation, a chance to reset your intention, cleanse your heart, discipline your spirit, reconnect with the Quran, embody mercy and kindness, and strengthen your bond with Allah through sincere dua and hope. Ramadan is not meant to pass over you as a routine, but to pass through you as a transformation. Every effort you make, no matter how small, carries weight when it is rooted in sincerity and devotion. So enter this month with humility, awareness, and determination, knowing that Allah's mercy is vast, His forgiveness is near, and His guidance is always available to those who truly seek it. May this Ramadan be a means of purification, growth, and closeness to your Creator, shaping you into a better servant of Allah long after the month has ended.